Let's see here.
I hate that they don't make a way that you could share the link before. What, you can't have beer?
It's hardcore, bro.
No, baby.
No beer? That's not hardcore.
You don't like this one?
Hard fucking core.
Hey, could I plug my phone in? Who's driving?
I am.
Could I plug, if I brought my phone charger, could I plug my phone on the way?
I'll guarantee you my charger will already work for it. It's got 4 different connections.
Oh my God, that's amazing. You're going to take me everywhere.
Chauffeur.
I'll at least pay him in Canadian snacks and beer.
Oh, hey, it's a good trade-off.
Little, if you're watching this, a little peek of before the episode. They do that for Game of Thrones.
What's that?
This is like our before the episode, except we're not recapping last episode. We're just talking.
Is there pre-funk?
No, but we're recording video, or we're live on video, but we're not actually recording the podcast yet because I want to share it out before I do. Because last time I forgot to share it for like a little while.
But Matt, I didn't want you thinking I was some jealous freak. I'm not.
No, I don't.
See, I told you. The episode.
I just like to joke about it as soon as I hear it.
Damn it.
I got to hear more about this Katie story.
No, they dated, and I just didn't. I'm not. It's fine. It's just she wasn't the nicest person to him, and I just have whether I have a best friend who goes through that, I'm kind of like, well, fuck you, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just think like it's not nice to be mean to people.
Oh, recording. Got it.
It'll be edited out. I just start the recording early so I can reduce noise.
Goodbye. Thanks for the good time and see your Wooly.
Actually, I'm sorry. Oh, so Darin, so how this works? I'll do our little intros and introduce me, Ricky, and our special guest host, and then we'll do updates, which I won't have introduced you yet, but you are more than welcome to chime in.
Okay.
And then at some point, I'll just randomly be like,
yeah, and here's our guest.
And that voice you hear is our friend, yeah.
I'm nobody's friend.
I'm sorry.
That's true. Welcome back to the Fairweather Friends podcast. As always, I am Veg, and on my left, Ricky Reyes.
Hey.
And this is a special episode. Not only do we have a great friend as a guest, we have a special guest host.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
What? No.
I thought you would handle that, Ricky.
No.
Babe.
This is
Bad
my
assumption.
fiance who's turning red.
I'm red. I'm Lori.
Hello, Lori.
I mean, this isn't even your first time on the podcast. Come on.
Yes, this is true. Last time I was very intoxicated.
But
That makes for a good podcast.
that episode was a long-running, highest downloaded episode.
Ooh,
There you go.
that's exciting.
It took a while for anyone to pass it, and part of that was because I kept accidentally promoting Hook and Liz's episode on accident.
Check your links.
I did not want people to keep listening to that. No, I didn't update the links on where I would share it on Reddit, and so I kept sharing I would have the description was whatever episode I was trying to promote, but then the link for just one of them is either iTunes or Google or something like that.
I think it was iTunes.
Was Hook and Liz's episode specifically? I thought I had the link just to our page, so then
That's
people could
really
just download
funny.
any of them, the most recent.
Because every week we would check the totals and we're like, how the fuck is there still gaining steam?
I kept
They're
messaging
so unlikable. I don't understand.
Yeah, I kept messaging Ricky. I was like, every time I promote a new episode, they get like an 8 download bump. I was like, I don't know why. It's a lot like when I couldn't figure out why I sounded so much louder than Ricky on microphone, and it was the laptop. So we've had
Always check your equipment too, people.
Note to self.
We're in the 20s on our episodes, and we are still learning.
What is this, 21?
22.
22, good
Yeah.
number.
Episode 22. All right, let's get some updates out of the way. Don't really have much.
My update is here. Usually I talk about her.
Yeah, the
Hi.
last couple has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
literally like, when is Lori going to be here? When is she going to be here again? What are we doing?
Here I am.
See, now I didn't know anything about the engagement. I'd like to get a little
Surprise.
backstory. Can I get a little origin story between
Surprise.
you two? How'd you meet?
We
How
can do
did everything blossom?
Instead of updates, that's a good update because we didn't get
Updates
a whole lot of that story.
I mean,
By the way,
may
Darin, this
have
is
been
Lori.
drunk.
Hello, Lori.
Well, you guys sent me out to get him.
Yeah, that
Hi,
other
nice to
voice,
meet you.
our friend Darin Davis, who's here
Yes.
for this episode.
Hello, folks.
Hi.
And yeah, we got a little bit into that into their episode, but it got, like she said, there was a lot of alcohol.
Just way too much alcohol.
Plus, there was like
The
a
football season.
what's like the girl equivalent of a bromance? Because you and
yeah.
Haley were
That
having like
happened.
a total bromance.
She's my sister wife of America.
Okay, sister
All right.
wives. So
Yeah,
that's your
she's my
guys'
sister wife of
version.
America. I love you if you're listening.
Yeah, you guys want to give like the Clip Notes version of, because it's very unorthodox
back.
the way you met.
Well, we met on Instagram.
It's very modern.
I guess these days.
Modern.
We met on the Instagram.
Okay.
We have boxers. I think our number one thing was definitely boxers in
That's why I
common.
followed you.
Yeah.
The dog, not the underwear.
Yeah.
I mean, not the dog. We're both into boxer dogs,
Cool.
and then music. I'd say music is definitely number two, and then
Lots of Bruce Springsteen, or
I mean, if you're into that,
I'm definitely.
I love the
not.
ball.
boxers, dogs, boxer dogs.
Cool.
That's it. I don't know. It's silly, and then we just sort of started talking.
Well,
because,
I remember you mentioned some band that you were like,
Okay, I was
how
just
the
gonna
hell
say-
does he know this
yeah,
band?
the Stars. So I was actually coming here for another band, totally not the Stars. Her name is LP. And I remember he saw that I was coming and he's like, I'm going to be in Seattle the day before you're there. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Really?
Kind of left it at that. We kind of had music in common. And then I posted this, it's this band called The Stars, and they're a Canadian band. And I posted like, I don't know if it was a story or something on Instagram, I don't know, a record. And he was like, oh my God, I love that band. They're so good. And I
What
was
kind
like,
of music do they do? Well, how would you describe it?
Getting a little soft rock kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd say that.
okay,
Yeah,
cool.
they opened up for Metric, like
Electronic
they
and
were
stuff.
touring with Metric, like that was kind of the thing. Anyway, and so I had really heard about them, and I was like kind of floored that you had even heard of them, even liked them. It was kind of cool. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so then we started talking more. And then I took a chance and came to visit him. I wasn't going to come, like we were talking for a few months, and I was actually supposed to go to somewhere else. Long story short, didn't go. I felt like I had this connection with Ricky, and we just had this connection, and I didn't want to miss out on it. I always think that you have to meet someone in person.
Sure.
Like you can
Yeah,
talk
we
all you
all
want
kept
to
telling-
online.
We all kept telling Ricky you were like some 40-year-old fat dude.
I'm almost 40, but I'm not fat. It's
Or
fine.
dude.
That's all that matters.
Or dude.
Yeah.
I missed the dude part. I mean, I'm not a dude. No.
That-
2019.
that one's important.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, you
and
can just say it. I'm a dude.
I am not a
That's
dude.
all it takes.
That is.
If you want, I'm saying. I'm not
Well,
saying.
if you're good with your words, does it matter?
No.
No, it doesn't. No. So then I took a chance.
I mean, I shouldn't be like. I can't really react bad. We've talked incest.
Oh, yeah, we get PSA for incest.
I guess that wasn't on this podcast. You got to listen to the Chaos is a Ladder if you want to hear our thoughts on incest.
They're all good. All of them are good. I'm a number one fan.
Incest?
No, not on
Jesus,
incest. On your
Lori.
podcast. On the
Oh,
podcast.
that's right.
I love your podcast, not incest. Please do not.
She has been probably our number one supporter,
I love you guys. I think you're awesome.
other than maybe Jared Johnson, just because he was such a fan that he just started doing it.
Yeah,
also.
okay, that and they say that's the biggest
Inspired him.
compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
you
amazing.
And, you and Haley were going to do a murder mystery one.
Mm,
Murder
I love my murder mystery. I love all murder.
I've never even
Okay.
listened to one, so I'd love it if you guys actually started one and I could
I
like
love them.
randomly guess and
There's a lot
get
of them
scared.
out there.
There's a lot out there. Actually, I just learned. Actually, the other day they did stats on podcasts, and it actually said that the number one, what is that trending? It's murder mystery podcast. There's like 10.
It's
They're
always
like-
girls drinking wine.
Oh no,
talking
there's
about
like probably like
No, but, like-
there's probably like 1,000.
No, but like the main
Well,
ones is like they're just fucking hitting it. It's murder
It's 'cause,
mysteries.
Cereal.
well, it's crazy.
Started
Add
like-
the adding on episode.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
listened
yeah,
to
that's
that,
true.
yeah.
It's crazy that there's so many murder mystery podcasts, and yet I have the only Game of Thrones podcast on the internet. I'm gonna keep telling myself that.
I was like, you
We're in a big
do?
seat.
No, that's probably the second most popular like topic for podcasts.
Probably. Actually, I had a friend who didn't want to watch it. Like they didn't have cable, so they were streaming it, and they couldn't even watch it because it was for the Game of Thrones because it was so busy. It kept pausing. It's so
Ah.
No
crazy.
buffering and
Yeah,
crap.
yeah.
Oh.
Because everybody, imagine all the people trying to
HBO
watch
Go
it.
does that a lot.
It's kind of janky. To
Yeah.
be honest, like it'll stop and just black screen, load. Like
Yeah, I'll get
Oh,
through like a
no,
bunch of
no.
episodes, and all of a sudden, late at night, it'll just like start loading for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
I'm
That's
going to
it.
bed.
I'll switch to Netflix for the rest of the night if I'm
Yeah,
going to keep
good
watching
choice.
TV.
That's a good choice for you.
But I've been watching Barry. Good show. So
What's
great.
Barry?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's Barry.
What is it?
It's
Barry?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that show.
Didn't you tell
oh
me?
god,
It's
what's
got
his
Bill
name?
Hader.
Bill
You
Hader.
told me
Thank you.
about it, and I
Love
did
Bill
not
Hader.
watch it.
Right there on
He
the wall.
wrote it. He's the creator and the star.
Cool.
They got some weird. Is it Russian dude? He's
I love
like
that guy.
bald.
He's so
God,
fucking
he's such a
funny.
weird character.
He's,
So hilarious. Though.
Chechnyan.
He's so nice, but he's like a gangsta, and like everyone is like you can just start talking like him so easily.
That's awesome. I gotta
It's a good
watch
show.
it.
Definitely jump on Barry.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler's
Really?
good. Yeah.
He finally won an Emmy for it.
Oh, and what's the guy at the stapler from Office? No, it's not the stapler guy.
Oh, Steven,
the one who gets hurt. And he's a long
Steven something.
story guy. He's really good.
Backing
in it.
out of his driveway, gets tatered by the car.
Yeah, that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. And
It's that guy, right?
He had
Yeah,
that
he's-
jump to
but wasn't he trying to
conclusions,
kill
Matt.
himself?
Yeah, he was, but the wife.
Bill
caught him.
Dauterive.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
No, he plays Bill Dauterive on King of the Hill.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Me
Oh,
either.
interesting.
Good old facts.
I forget what we were talking about.
Okay, so then what happened was
Oh, good.
we'll go back to this. I decided to take a chance and drive on over to see Julie. I don't think I'm even saying that right. The funny thing is when you cross the border to come here, and they're like, where are you going to visit? And you say, they're like, what? No,
Weird.
you're not.
It's
So-
pronounced Skid Row Woolly. By the way. So, like,
I- so-
Formerly, it was
Yeah.
literally named Bug at one point. This town was named Bug at one point.
this is probably Metropolis.
The sign is still up at Riverfront
Welcome.
Park.
It is?
It says
Well,
"Welcome to Bug."
It was really
She-
called that?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty gullible.
No, for real.
Whoa.
so
Before that, it was
the
named
thing that-
Gullible.
And then it was like Cedro and it was Woolly, and they were two separate.
I'm done this conversation.
Oh.
No,
The trip that you turned down was to go to New York on Halloween.
Okay, so this
Did
other
you?
guy was like stalking me, and he's like, I'll pay for you to come. And I was like, no. He actually won. He was trying to get me to, he's like, there's something about you. I'm like, okay. And he was legit trying, I'm not even lying, for probably off and on for 4 years in total. He was like, and I'm like, I have a boyfriend, dude. Like, no. Because I'm very committed. Not pretty. I'm pretty committed, babe.
kind of.
And he just kept talking and going. And I actually unfollowed him at one time because it was just so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And then he finally sent me a message. He's like, I'm sorry, that was a little creepy. I'm like, dude, yeah, it was. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Anyways, me being an idiot and always like, okay, everybody likes me, we're friends. I accepted him back as my friend, and it started again. He started
course.
like,
You
and
opened the
then
door for him.
I did. I know it's my fault. I know, because I'm so nice sometimes, where I just think forgiving, like, okay, everybody makes mistakes, and
Not
who am
being quality,
I?
But you have to protect yourself
I
too, because
mean,
there's a lot of fucking assholes.
He's in New York. I thought, what's gonna happen?
I'm learning though it's a pretty common trait in females of letting people hang around their life way longer than they should.
100%.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you just gotta cut ties.
I know. Yeah, learning.
They always say they know, Darren.
I do know,
'Cause
legit.
but they won't do it. And that's fine.
Is
I'm
there
gonna say,
someone in my life you'd like to get rid of?
no.
Are you
Just say I
hinting-
know somebody in a similar situation.
Okay, good. Well, to you in that similar situation, he is thinking about you. So then, are you in that similar situation?
No, I know somebody, and if it was me, it wouldn't be a guy. Well, actually,
Sure.
with my luck, it probably would be a guy that's creeping
so
on me.
I went through a breakup, and like he kept like texting and not texting, messaging me on the
Uh-huh.
Instagram, and he was like, just come to New York, I'll pay for you. And I said, no, I'm not even lying, a lot. And finally, I'm like, you know what, a free trip to New York, why not? I'll just go. Okay. But then I love Dateline.
Murder because you about to
Stop, because everybody. But the only thing is, whenever you look at Dateline of the murder mysteries, they only have like the 3 really good photos. Like, don't you have more photos than 3? Come on now. Like, what? Like, at least show more than 3. Anyway, so I told all my friends and the people I worked with, they're all like,
Police.
Lori.
That was a should have.
I just love him already. And they were like, Lori, you're going to end up on Dateline. I'm like, well, at least I love Dateline. So get my good 3 photos and we'll call it a day. So I kind of like, it was kind of uncomfortable. There's a few moments where I was like, my gut was like, don't go. And I was like, and then Ricky and I started talking more, and I just decided, like, we were talking for like a couple of months.
I'll
few months.
go visit the
Well-
guy who I actually like and have feel like I have chemistry with instead of the creeper who's been
Yeah,
trying to get me to come to New York for 4 years.
probably just to fuck me, but
All
whatever.
things considered, I did follow you for a good 4 years before.
You
we
did,
started
yes.
talking.
However, but no, he wasn't. No, but you know what I loved about you? I love that he wasn't like, no, and he wasn't ever like, show me your boobs, show me your lady bits.
Sure.
And he wasn't sending me like
Ricky's a gentleman.
You know,
We all
I don't know
know.
if I can say that, but penis pictures. Sorry.
You can say whatever
word.
you like.
You said boobs and you were worried about saying penis?
I know.
We can say
You didn't even say
vagina,
dick. Okay.
asshole.
So what happened? And so, but because honestly, even today, I was just laughing. This guy who's like, he's trying to follow me, and I've declined him twice, and then he just sent a thing saying hello, and I'm like, what? I'm not. Like, anyway, so girls on the Instagram, I think on social media in general, tend to get like a lot of like dick pics.
Okay.
Bless
Is that
you.
your experience on Instagram? I don't know. I'm not on the Instagram.
You're
Why
not?
don't girls
I love
randomly
it.
send boob pics? I've never once gotten random boob pics.
What? So why do guys feel the need to send dick pics? I'll never understand.
Because we're proud.
Well, I mean, girls are quite
Which
proud
may
too.
tell you why I've never sent a random dick pic.
So I decided
I'm
not
very
to go,
nice to myself.
and I thought there was there's a connection and there's chemistry. I liked that we could talk about stuff easily. It was easygoing, and I thought, you know what, I need to go meet him and just go with this, because once you meet someone in person, it's either going to be yay or nay.
Yeah.
The first night was a nay. I was
Oh.
very awkward. I just drove for like 13 hours because one of the roads were blocked, and so I mean I was awkward.
Did you go like on a date or anything? Did you go anywhere?
No, I got him.
to Food Pavilion and bought some chicken strips and tater tots.
We had chicken fingies and tater tots. That was our dinner.
Yeah, and then
Chicken what
things
you call
warmed up and they went to
Chicken
like 8
fingies.
targets. Like when things got better, they went to a bunch of targets instead.
We did find my sloth lamp after all.
We
I
went
just
to
told him
Burlington Target, Smoky Point Target,
Seattle.
We went to Northgate Target. We went to Seattle.
I kept getting pictures of her holding a bunch of shit at Target. I was like, what?
I
You
love
guys do
her.
American
And
experience.
then-
Wow.
No, and then who was on here that said the white girl? And I'm like, oh, that's me. So embarrassed. I
Who
was.
said the what?
Someone said,
Who
Girls
was
at
it?
Target.
There was like
Oh,
that
yep.
thing, and I was like, well,
Shit.
I was looking for a sloth lamp in my defense.
She was looking for something specific.
And
A
then
sloth
naturally,
lamp?
yeah, I love sloths,
Okay.
and it's a sloth lamp. It's a sloth with a lampshade.
It's like a ceramic sloth.
Oh,
It's the cutest
like
thing.
The Leg Christmas Story, but it's a
Yeah, but
sloth.
Yeah.
Okay. fair
And
enough.
I was gonna settle for a llama. I love llamas too. Don't get
Oh,
me
they're
wrong.
cool.
But sloths are. I would like to see my spirit animal, but no, they're not. I'm not definitely not that. Anyway, so he had the patience.
Spirit animal thing's gone too far. People are calling other humans their spirit animal now. Come on.
No, come on now.
What have we gotten to?
I'm no
Sorry, you were saying.
sloths, whatever. Anyways, I just love that he had the patience to truck me around to find this fucking lamp. We found it. It's by the side of my bed. But I don't know. We just had this connection, and we kept talking. And it's funny because when I first left, the first time I left, I was driving and I was crying, and I was like, I have to go back. I couldn't. I drove for like 40 minutes actually, and I called him like, "What are you doing? I'm coming back." And so I came back, and then I don't know. There's something about him. I just had never.
I tried to lead you to I-5, but you ended up going Highway 9.
Yeah, I actually came in that way again.
Yeah, so
Took me an extra 30 minutes probably.
It's
pretty
beautiful.
scenic
It's
drive.
beautiful.
It's
It's
a
fun.
pretty good drive.
Highway 9 is nice.
It's beautiful. Anyway, and I just think he's my soulmate.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
It's
you
crazy.
two.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, your last visit was really good. You got her longer.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, we all got to hang out
Which was amazing.
multiple times.
Yeah.
And then she came over to your house, Darin, watched UFC fights, and
Oh yeah.
got to meet, at least meet everybody.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when Ricky was house sitting for Corey and Kira, we all went over there and hung out, and you get to meet his mom
Which was amazing. I love her. I just feel
and
really
stepdad and everything.
blessed and welcomed by everybody, and the support has been really amazing. It's kind of weird because you think like, wow, legit, this is our third time together hanging out, but I just think when you know, and the support has been just amazing. Very blessed. It's
Oh, yeah.
cheesy, but
We're
cool.
not
No,
very
that's great.
judgmental. That like, we're the Cedar Willie people that are not like all judgmental
Yeah, we're
and
not into
shit.
Hicks and Trump.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not all that bad, I guess. He is orange.
If you like,
It's my second favorite
Fruit.
color.
no one
That is-
likes orange. No
How
one
dare
likes
you? That's why you
orange.
need to like it.
No. Mm. Anyways, that's our love story. I loved everyone. I love his friends and family are amazing. And I actually really think this is, I don't know, I think the friends that you keep and like seeing the support, how supportive they were with him,
Mhm.
it made me, even more lucky and happy. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. They're all so great and they all love him and support him. And I always think that says a lot about someone, the friends you keep,
We're a pretty solid crew. Happy to have you aboard.
So far, so good.
Yeah, now we just got to get you down here to America.
We're trying.
Oh, you gonna make the move?
I'm moving, yes. There's a few things that are, I just feel like there's some things we have to kind of pan out first. And right now I have a dog and he's got some stuff going on. And
Is he old or?
he's 7 and some, and he's healthy, he's normal, but he's having neurology problems. So he can't walk right now, and it's been really
shit.
hard. So
Yeah.
I don't want to, I told Ricky, like, I'm not doing anything until I know what's actually happening with him,
Mhm.
because I don't know. And I have pet insurance for him too. So in Canada, it's good. And I know if I brought him over here and something happened, it would be okay. But I would like to have all of the ducks in a row first.
Right.
Like, I know we love each other. I know we're not going anywhere. And I just think it's the smart thing to do is just to get things in order first.
Right.
But I've already started selling stuff and donating everything. So
Oh, shit.
yeah, I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
All right,
life.
now
Hello,
let's-
moving on.
It's
Intro.
what's the Missy Elliott line? Flip it, put it down, flip it, and reverse it, or whatever. And we'll do how we know Darin.
Hi. Welcome.
Hey.
Darin, you've lived in Cedar Woolley your whole life, right?
Born and raised in old Cedar Woolley.
No, you had a stint down in California.
Okay, well, sorry. So
I did,
growing
I did.
up, yes.
Yeah, I grew up
in Cedar Woolley. Everyone always gets mistaken. I always mean growing up, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "No, I lived over here for a while." I'm like, "Oh yeah, but I mean, like, obviously you didn't live there when we knew you."
What do they call it? Your
Or I mean-
formative years?
Right. Salad years.
Yeah. Were you born here?
I was actually born in Mount Vernon in the hospital. My parents lived here in Cedar Woolley.
But that's close. How far is Mount Vernon?
It's
15
yonder,
minutes.
right over the hill.
Right over the
Across
hill.
river through Clear Lake. Yeah, I mean, same for me. And I mean, we never really hung out as kids, but I always knew you. I know we went fishing at least once because my stepdad and your dad worked together.
That's right, with Fisher and Sons.
And I remember them taking us through this
Ironic.
goddamn tall grass and bushes and stuff. Because my stepdad Mike
Where
was like,
was he taking
your brother was there
Yeah.
too. It was like on a river or a creek, and we got to like,
you don't recall where?
no, we had
Or
a truck.
any general location. We go east up the river. Do you know?
I don't remember that
Okay,
stuff.
that's
I have
right.
visual memory. I
Yeah.
definitely was not paying attention as a kid on where we drove to.
Sure.
I just remember because my stepdad, with his big waders on,
Oh, yeah.
is just creating a trail.
Uh.
We're kids. I mean, we're probably like 12, 13, 14, something like that. It wasn't super young. We were having to truck through, in like shorts and
Yeah.
getting sticker bushes and crap.
Leeches on her nutsack.
Oh, that was the
somewhat.
worst. Not on my nutsack,
No?
but on my legs, yes.
And then when they played softball together, you guys would come to the games sometimes,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we
You and your
still
brother?
remember. Yeah.
Because I would go, and then I think when I was like 15, I actually played for them a few times.
Oh, really?
When they
Little
just
fella?
had nobody.
Ringer.
Like Mike, no, I wasn't good. But well, I mean, they were maybe for
Not
them.
the only thing they were good
For
about
them,
is
I was
crushing beers
okay.
in the dugout. Was
Yeah.
probably the most
But
problem.
Mike was kind of managing
You
the
gotta
team. He
respect
never
it.
knew. He never knew who was going to show up. So anytime I was going, he's like, "Well, bring your cleats and mitt, just in case."
There you go. Nice.
But then, yeah, I was new in high school and stuff.
I never,
we never
I didn't-
really hung out though.
Yeah, I didn't
No.
know until high school. After high school.
Well,
College,
then
whatever.
when you moved to San Diego was when we really started playing poker a lot around here.
Yeah, that's when poker got huge. So
And
I
yeah,
kinda
we
missed
had
out on that whole
Blair
money
started
boom.
creating
Yeah.
games, and Zach, and even at Skylar's, the storage unit. We
Yeah,
played there a
I
few
did have
times.
a couple games at the storage unit up top. That was fun.
Yeah.
There was Amundsen would try to pay with a check, like
Oh my
$5 and change. Or
Oh
some
my
nonsense,
goodness,
just to be
no.
an ass. And then he'd write it, like make it out to like cocksucker. or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
So you take it to the bank teller, like here, can I get
Memo is
$5 for
cock.
cocksucker, please?
I would just keep that check as a memory. Like,
Nah,
no,
frame it.
write something, yeah.
That's where Colin had one of his best moments. He was holding on to a 12-pack. And it was like halfway gone, and he just goes, "My beer is my life."
Oh my god, I remember him saying that.
Wardell cheating at any opportunity
yeah.
he get. I think Carol paid with a sock full of nickels one time. Just
Probably.
some good shit.
Those guys didn't end up playing a ton. Those guys were not regulars in the games.
They were more for the novelty of it. Get
But-
together, have a couple.
Yeah, every once in a while
Clearly.
we'd end up with like 20 people
Oh yeah, there'd be big tournaments.
and be
sure.
playing like 2 tables and stuff because all those guys would show up. But I mean, like me, Blair, Hook, Adkins, Sly, Colin was pretty regular.
Like, yeah, he didn't have a ride back then, so I'd always give him a ride back home. And he didn't pay me back in gas money. He would pay me back in poker tells.
Yep.
He'd tell me, when Blair's doing this, that means he's bluffing.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
I only drove him once, and I sat outside his house for at least 15 minutes
Oh,
because
yeah.
he would not get out of the
no.
car. He just kept telling me everyone's tells. I was like, and then the whole time, all I'm thinking is, why don't you ever win? Like you
You know
apparently
all
know.
these things,
Oh, and he would
but-
pull the shit where he would have chips in his pockets.
Oh, right. Like, oh, yeah, I'm all in. Shit, I got to get the rest of my
Well,
chips.
you would bet.
Too.
Yeah, you would bet enough to put him what you thought was all in,
Right.
Because his matches chips on the table,
Yeah.
and you'd beat him.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, he'd pull out chips and put them on the table, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
I actually got chastised. Blair and I went to a poker tournament at the Tulalip a couple weeks ago, and the chips are color coordinated, right? Like you got green, black, red, blue, and like the black ones are like the expensive ones.
Yeah.
Well, I had my stacks. I had like a big stack of red, and behind it I had a pretty sizable stack of black. And this dude sitting next to me was like, "I think about putting you all in, but I don't know what the hell you got." And I was like, "Huh? This?" And then the dealer was like, "You got to show all your chips in a row." I was like, "Oh boy, sorry." So I lined them all up for everyone to see. Sorry. At least they were in my pocket.
Yeah,
You and Blair
lucky
for a while were going to casinos and playing like legit cash games,
they used to
right?
have
Or tournaments.
what's that one? The Nook Sack. When that was still open, we'd go up there.
The what?
The Nook Sack. Nook Sack.
Oh, I heard a sack. I heard
Selective
nut
hearing,
sack.
maybe, yeah.
I heard nut sack.
I knew
You
exactly
called
why.
it that
I knew
sack.
exactly why she was like, "Wait, what?"
It was a brutal tournament. It was a free tournament, so it always get people to go, but it was a huck to get up there. The tables, they had like 4 or 5 of them. There's always so many people show up that they kind of like, they go in like in circuit style. Like you get a table, you'd sit down and play, and then you get shifted to another table. And to get in line, you got to get up there like early, like starts like 11 or 10. And sometimes you don't get a table till like fucking 2 or 3.
Jeez.
So you're up in wherever the hell buttfuck nowhere that is up there. Got nothing to do but kind of hang out and gamble.
They didn't always say they like blackjack table stuff, right?
Yeah, there's mainly slots, so that's pretty much what all casinos have these days.
Yeah.
I hate slots.
And you go in there and it's just so dismal and depressing. There'd be like, old people like just
Cigarette
chain
smoke.
smoking.
It is,
and they're at
yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning and they're pounding Bloody
It's
Marys.
sad.
and
It's
hitting
really
it.
sad. That's
And
probably
then
going to be me when I'm
No,
90,
no.
but it's
And then
fine.
you leave
I
like
hope it's me.
3 or 4 in the afternoon and the people are still in the same damn
Yeah.
chair pulling on
With
the
their
pin.
little reserve sign, don't fucking touch
Yeah.
my chair, bitch. Like you move,
Yeah.
they're like put the little
Okay,
sign
but
up.
you think that's bad? I would open at Domino's, and when I would pull up to Domino's, there would be people standing outside the bar that's already open across the street.
Oh, yeah.
And those same people would be at the bar at 7 o'clock when I left
Yeah, that is really sad.
after the dinner
incredible.
rush.
Shout out to the
You're like
club.
working, making money, and they're over there.
The
Yeah.
flow.
Oh yeah, I show up for work at 9 o'clock in the morning. 3 cars lined up waiting to get their booze.
I sometimes wonder, like, even remember that time I was like, do you think they know me at my liquor store? I go there every 2 weeks, maybe a month. I get the same bottle of wine every time.
What's your flavor?
I get a Cab Sab there just because I like this one, but
That's
typically it's a Malbec.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Cab
No,
Sab.
mine, no weird.
I do like Malbec. I like the Malbec, but there was one time me and my bestie ventured off and had a daytime drinking, and we had a little brown paper bags,
Sure.
and it was embarrassing because we went in, and then we were like, well, we'll just go back in and get some shots, and then we went back in. I swear the guy was like, bitch, just leave already. Like, why are you back here? But I don't think they know me,
I
but
can vouch.
What?
If you come in that regularly, they definitely know you.
Sure.
And
even after every 2 weeks though, or like a month.
well, he's probably like, I hope that fucking girl comes in.
Yeah.
Buys that lunch.
No.
Not.
Well, that's the one time this guy had his zipper down, and I was
Which
like,
one, like on his
one of the-
sweater or
one of the- no,
his-
on his
some
crotch.
hot dogs?
and they were like, he was behind the till, and I was like, damn it, do I tell him that his zipper's down? I always tell everybody.
Hell
I do.
no, I don't
No,
say
I
no.
do.
Me neither.
At the
Yeah.
supermarket, I'll go,
Yeah.
and it's always men. I think they're doing it on purpose. I just
Well,
realized
we're
this
just-
right
we're
now.
pretty dumb, actually.
I'll do it at like the Safeway, be like, excuse
We zip
me.
it up in the morning, but
Mm.
then after we go pee the first time, you never know.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
just
off.
don't get it. I
might
don't know.
not go back up.
And so I'm trying to tell this guy, I was like, your coworker's zipper is down. And he's like, what? I'm like,
That's even more awkward.
I know, it was awkward.
Now
And
another
then-
person knows and has to decide if
I-
they're going to tell him.
No, because I didn't want to yell over. Like he was 3 people over. How I noticed the zipper down, I don't know.
So did you get?
I think
full
we know
bird, or
exactly
you-
what
Well, it was pretty open. And so I said,
Wow.
and he was like, I don't know what you're saying. He's like, do you need a zipper? I'm like, his zipper is open. And I quickly grabbed my wine and ran out. And I was like, do I go back here again? But they got a good deal. So I've been back. But I don't know. That is another question in life. Do you tell someone their zipper is down?
That's-
Always.
I never do.
No, if someone's
That's
got like food on
embarrassing.
their face, just leave it. I think it's
No.
funny. Yeah, they'll
No.
be fine.
I mean, they're probably wearing underwear.
Point it out to your friends. But
Probably.
It's-
It's a 50-50 chance.
Just stop looking at people's crotches.
I can't help myself. I just want to make sure people are okay. Yep.
Speaking of wine and my expert transition skills,
Yes.
Darin, I don't know, I was going to say brewed. What is that
Oh, that was a
called?
good segue.
You've
What-
made, segue. Damn it.
Yeah.
That was what I was going for. Transition,
Transition.
segue skills.
Yes, I brew beer as a hobby, and I've done blackberry wine a couple times. Not very successful at it, but I'm going to try again this year. Think about usually the ass end of summer, the berries start getting pretty ripe. I think last season it was maybe a little too dry, and the yield wasn't very good. Like the berries were kind of small and they were a little tart. So I still made a batch out of it, and I went to try it. It just wasn't good. I needed to sweeten it up a little bit. And that's usually a problem. I don't really add enough sugar. So I got some chocolate and I melted that up and I added it to the blackberry wine, thinking I might make a nice chocolate kind of dessert wine style thing, and it was dog piss. And I just poured it out. So.
Oh, you wasted it? I would have still drank it.
Anytime you need to get rid of anything.
Oh yeah. You want my toilet wine?
I'll take it.
My swish.
So, do you stomp? Like, how do you prepare your berries?
So I've only done blackberries.
Stomp. Do you have a barrel out in the
I
backyard?
was okay. I
Darin,
was
you
just,
stomp?
you know what? I just asked him a very good question, Matt. Okay, Mr. V.
Oh,
I just
Thank you,
elaborated
sir.
on your question because you just said stomp. I had to make sure people knew what you're talking about stomping.
I would hope people would know what I'm
We've
talking.
all seen the old video
I
of the
was just
person
gonna
who's
say.
doing it and falls out.
Oh,
Okay, that's
Insert
legit
clip.
what I was.
Insert
Okay,
clip.
that's what I thought at first, and then I redirected
so
my
old.
question. That just Oldie moldy over here. Go ahead.
So I don't normally make in bulk that much where I need to be stomping berries, but typically I'll get like, I don't know, maybe because I'll make a small batch. I'll do maybe like half a 5-gallon bucket, maybe 3 gallons of berries. Go out and pick them all. And you think it's pretty easy, but it takes a long.
Oh, I
fucking
know.
time to pack
Yeah,
a
It
bunch of
does
berries.
actually.
So usually I kind of give up and get halfway through a bucket and be like, all right, that's too many. That's enough. I don't want to do it anymore. So then I just take them home. And one year I had done it with like a food processor. I put them in and just blended them up like a puree kind of thing. And then last year I just got it with my hands and just crushed it all.
There you go.
It was
Could have
all pretty
stomped
much-
on them.
Could have stomped. But
Mhm.
Do you peel them?
no, I just the whole berry hole, just the seeds and the stems and everything. Because when you first go to your brew or after you make your mash and it's sitting and fermenting, after it's done fermenting, you can move to a secondary for additional fermenting. And all that really is just separating the chunder and the debris from your actual wine. So if you do a transfer, you filter out like all the seeds and the stems and the worms and all that shit.
Do you think? And I know nothing about making wine. I just like drinking it.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think if you were to separate them beforehand, the bitterness of all that other stuff wouldn't transfer over?
This is a possibility. Like I'm a very novice at this, and I'm kind of learning too. That could, but I don't know
So I was
how
going to
you.
say, because I think, so what I did when I worked at Northwest Farm Credit, we got to do tour of a winery.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like they had a machine that processed the skins off before they
Oh, really?
Because they're bitter.
pressed
Very
them.
bitter.
That would make a big
But it could
difference.
also add a little bit too, though. Depends, I guess, what you're going for.
I don't like my wine too sweet. I kind of like it on the bitter side, or
Dry.
tart,
wine's pretty
dry.
good.
Yeah, I like white. I've really
I was
realized
never
over the
that
years
fan
I've done enough
too.
tastings now that I know I definitely like white better
Feel
than
it to
red.
the
I like a
birds.
Riesling though, but that's pretty sweet. So I do like a little sweeter.
Next time we go
I do
fishing,
too. Like
we'll
a
go to
Riesling.
A Mexican.
Yeah.
I like a
Tony
Riesling.
B says he has a pile of fucking blackberries up at his place. He
Oh, yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Come up whenever you want, grab them." So
Go get them.
Yeah,
He's into
Could you
gardening
freeze
and
them?
shit, too.
yeah, you can.
Or is
freeze
it the same? I don't know anything about it. So
Sure,
is it
you
something
can
that you could
freeze
freeze them
Yeah,
and
yeah,
save them
$20
for later? Because you could start collecting.
Why?
right?
It was a quick
And
Yeah.
then, like do a couple seasons
Yeah.
out of it, and then that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Something to think
That was
about.
like one of our
But
only
don't
ones
give
that was
up.
timed well.
Huh? Well, I'm not
Besides
crazy
this
about
one, I
wine.
guess.
And it was just
But what
something
about
fun
your
to do.
beer? So you make beer.
I do make beer.
Tell us about
I do
that.
enjoy making beer.
So yeah, so Corey was on See our last episode? No, we had 2 episodes ago
It
or
was
something
2
like that.
ago.
It was
Mhm.
He was before Christine.
I listened
And so
to
yeah, we were
them
talking
all.
about him
Christine,
about
that's who it was.
we were talking to him about doing the whole brewery thing,
Mhm.
and of
Brewery.
course, you're his
Head brewer.
ideal brewmaster.
Wow.
Wow.
I think
We
it's
couldn't
a
even-
very shallow pool to pick from. That's not saying much.
Well, we couldn't
but I'll
even
take
get,
the compliment.
we couldn't even get him to get us into the restaurant part.
I tried very
Really?
hard
Damn.
I offered our services with
We're
our
like
a
2
restaurant
decades
management experience.
Oh.
He feels like his Chuck E. Cheese experience is just as good as our Domino's.
Wow.
Experience.
I don't know about all that.
I
I didn't know
opened-
Corey worked at Chuck
I
E. Cheese.
opened 2 brand new stores with Domino's.
Okay.
All right.
So
I'm
you
a
got a
very-
little restaurant
all right.
experience.
I have a very good rapport with the people of Cedar Woolley.
That's true.
I
well
do not.
respected, well loved.
I'm on the opposite side. I'll stay in the back.
It wasn't by choice. It just
Maybe
kinda
people don't
happened.
But yeah, so he lost the bowling alley, but it's open. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him renovating it the other day. I wonder, are they going to do a restaurant there? Do you
It's
know,
supposed to
or-
be a restaurant. Yeah, from what I heard.
Whack.
Did you get an opportunity to go in there when they tried to reopen the bowling alley again?
I don't think so.
Oh, it was fucking terrible. Like there's like holes in the walls and the lanes were garbage. Like the monitors didn't work. We
Is
had-
that where we're going?
No,
No.
That's a bowling alley that was in Cedar Woolley when we were kids,
Okay, good.
and the
Phew.
building was for sale for like 12 years. I mean, a lot of years, long time.
And then they reopened it after 12
It's
years?
well,
and
not yet.
reopened?
They tried
It's-
to.
they're
There's
working
only
on it.
like
Someone
3
bought
lanes
it.
or something.
It was like 3 lanes.
Oh.
I'm like, I got big feet, size 13, but still, that's not too uncommon to find bowling shoes for. Well, they didn't have any. They went in the back, started digging through. Who knows what's
No,
going on
thank
back
you.
there? And they had like I had like a size 12 on my left and a 13 on my right. And it was just, it was a disaster.
That's amazing. Did you please keep those? That's so awesome. We're going to recreate that on Saturday. Stay
But they
tuned.
wanted
No,
so
I'm
much
just
damn
kidding.
I mean, that bowling
Wait,
alley
what
is not
is that?
great in Mount Vernon either, but it's not like that.
We can go.
Dilapidated.
Where? What?
Does Bellingham have a good one? There's one that
I
you
don't
can
know.
go to in Tacoma. It's like underwater. There's like
How
a
do you bowl underwater, Ricky?
Dude, I'll
Scuba
find it.
gear.
Yeah.
Do you wear a bathing suit?
no. It's like there's a clear thing and you can see all the fish.
Like an
swimming
aquarium
around.
kind of encompasses the
Yeah.
lanes. Okay, that's cool. They
Did
have
you say
something
the
like that.
lands?
The lanes?
Oh, I thought you said the
Like the
lands.
lands.
Encompasses the lands.
But when Corey was on and talking about brewing with you, he mentioned you guys had put together, was it a stout that you guys sent for a competition?
Oh yes, what stout? Fuck, I've done so many beers. It was a coffee stout, if
Ooh.
an
Okay.
espresso
That's the
stout,
one
if
that
I
I
remember.
That's
If I
so
remember
cool.
correctly, yeah. It was, we did.
And so it's
I don't think we placed.
Didn't
but
place, yeah. So
gave
he's
her
like
hell.
a
But
little
you
working
did
to
it.
do.
That's so cool.
But it sounded like that's what he was hoping to develop into the flagship beer.
Right,
Wow,
an
that's
espresso
amazing.
stout. That's a good move. I tend to float towards more IPAs. They're certainly more popular here in Pacific Northwest for
Yeah.
sure. People are hotbeds out here. So I think if you get a flagship, I would argue for a strong IPA, but an espresso stout is delicious.
That
Awesome,
sounds
too.
scrumptious to me.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, did you try it?
Yeah, Corey,
I'd
you
love
know.
to try that.
It's probably all drunk up by now.
I don't doubt it.
We'll just have to make a new batch.
Oh no!
Send it to
There
Canada,
you go.
please.
Did he tell you? And are you on board with not distributing in the beginning?
I like that idea of not distributing.
I mean,
just
you would
because
have to
kinda
make a
keep
lot
everything-
more too
Right, that's true. But
to be able to distribute.
yeah, distributing is very, very difficult. There's a lot of politics involved in that I'm not really all too familiar with either. Like you have to have lots of ins, and it's very expensive at that time. Maybe if you get big enough to distribute,
Like the
Maybe-
more people that try it, you kind of get your name out there.
Well, I mean,
Right.
even Farmstrong.
We should be
cans.
reps, Meg.
What's
That should be okay.
Farmstrong?
Well, so I
go
thought-
pimp my beer.
My whole thing was I thought Corey would be great for being a rep.
Mhm.
The dude is naturally
He's very
tries to
charismatic.
sell stuff,
Yeah.
sell you on things.
I think Corey's more looking towards investing in something that will give him good returns. I don't know how involved he wants to be into that. I
Oh,
know
he
it-
wanted to be do
He was-
everything.
yeah.
He
like
like
the
did-
GM. Oh.
he was going to basically make us servers. It sounded like.
Oh, okay.
You guys can be a waiter.
Like he
I
wasn't
can
going
be
to.
the
Cool, thanks,
waiter.
Corey.
All right.
He didn't sound like he was going to trust
I'll do it.
anyone to like help run the day to day.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's going to take it all? Okay, that's fine.
We were like, hey, we know how to run a day-to-day operation.
Oh, yeah, you guys
hiring,
did talk about that.
managing that type of stuff, and you can concentrate on bigger things and keep an eye on the brewing and stuff.
I could have possibly a Walton distribution in
With Amundsen?
Oh, there you go.
with
Well,
yeah.
Amundsen's wife.
What's his wife's name? Forgive me.
Angela.
Angela, thank you, Angela. We were
I don't know why
at,
Ricky remembers everything. It's crazy, but he
I'm
does.
very good with names.
I always turn to Ricky.
But we were at Kyle and Liz's wedding, and I had made a hazy IPA that I really enjoyed.
Was very popular.
It was like 15 minutes. It was gone. Like
And you made it?
I made it.
What
Like,
Wow.
what was in it?
it was just an IPA, but it's called a hazy IPA, and it's real cloudy. Like
I
it
don't
looks
even
kinda
know
like
what
a
that is.
Hefeweizen. It's just like an ale. Like,
It is getting more popular. I've seen more of them.
Yeah, you'll see a
Yeah,
lot of
I see
them.
Quite a
That's
bit.
so cool.
We'll find one down in
Good for
Seattle.
you.
We'll learn you.
Good for you guys. That's so awesome.
So it did really well, and I got talking with Angela about it. She said, "Well, if you want to think about distributing, contact me." Oh, I saw butterflies and rainbows. Like, oh my god!
Because it might even be easier to try and distribute first, because the investment on actually starting
That's
a
a good
brewery
point.
with a sit down, because he wants to do the whole thing,
Right,
have-
from the bottom up.
have beer or bar food, have the brewery, have entertainment like games.
And I know he had his heart set on the bowling alley, but that would have been, in my opinion, a whole. I think it's cool historical building. It
Would
would
have
have
been
been
big
awesome
renovation.
for a brewery, but they wanted like 1.2 mil for it. Or-
No, it was $500,000.
Oh, it was only half. Oh, I thought they wanted more than that.
Yeah, it was $500,000, but like the renovation itself was going to be another $500,000
Oh,
at
yeah,
least.
that's a
So
lot.
you're going to spend about $1 million on the damn thing. So
It was, it's the only reason it was that cheap.
that could be a cool spot, but
Well, it's a great location, especially now that they're doing all the Brew Fest downtown and stuff.
Right, we got Brewfest.
And there's another downtown festival of some sort. I saw people putting their interested on Facebook.
Really?
I don't remember what it is, but it was like a pub
Headquarters?
crawl. It was a firefighter pub crawl thing.
Oh, that's cool.
They were gonna. It's like they have some band where they play like bagpipes and stuff.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
That'd be
So
kinda
they
cool
were-
to go see.
Yeah, well, so they're doing a pub crawl to earn money to try to go to some other state to play whatever.
And you don't need like a whole building. Like just look at what Bill did upriver at Birdsley Brewery. He built a gazebo just outside, and he put his brewery in there. And people started coming. It got popular. Now you can't go to any bar here in town and not see the Ditzy Blonde on tap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't
That's
need
cool.
like a giant old bowling alley, in my opinion. But
And
Well,
I do
Corey's
agree
got
with
his garage that if he really wanted to just start brewing in there on a bigger scale and distributing, and then maybe after, because he's looking at 5 years from now, he's hoping. So, if in 2 years you can afford to get the equipment to, get a loan to start brewing and distributing, if you have, a recipe you like,
right.
maybe then after another 3 years, you have a lot more capital to put down for an actual location.
Actually, you have a pitch
Somewhere
you
to
could
come.
sit for a
Because like
loan.
Georgetown Brewery, which does Manny's,
The Bodie.
They do the Bodie too?
Bodie Hasa? Am I saying that right?
Bodhi Hasafa or something like that.
Yeah.
We would just call it the Bodie. That's,
Yeah.
that's a
Bodhi-
fucking good
Bodhi.
beer. And if you ever get a chance,
Bodhi
you
Zappa?
never find it in stores, in cans or bottles.
We sell
Rarely
it in
on
can.
tap. But Bodie, yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
talking a different beer is the red beer. They do a red beer called Chopper's Ale. That's hands down might be the best red ale in my opinion in the state.
Red's good.
If you could find the
Men's
son of a
red.
bitch,
I'll say I like the men's room red. haven't tried a lot of reds, but I'll
I can
keep an eye out for that one.
I could probably
It's great with. I mean, that's a great too, like at dinner beer.
yeah, this is nice red.
Nice,
Little steak or
Yeah,
something.
something a little heavier. I
A
mean,
fillet mignon, if
when
you
you're
will.
actually they need a lot of fillet mignons. Mignon. Can't even say it.
What?
No.
Now I have a stupid question. Do you have like a little recipe, little booklet you have of your beers?
I got a little notebook.
Yeah, what is the
and I'll take
process?
down notes. Well, I mean, I'll take you through the whole brewing process. You want to hear the whole?
I mean,
whole
as in deep
shebang?
as you want to go. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't know.
We'd all love
I've
to
seen the little kits you can buy.
Right. I'll keep it real simple. You could do. Most people when they started out, they do like a brew kit. Like you go to a brew store and say like, I want to make an IPA or I want to make a stout, and they'll give you a kit. And it's some grains, and usually the grains is extract, so it's like malted form, like syrup. Like you get a big container of that. That'll be your grains, and then you'll get other ingredients like hops. Sometimes they'll come in pellets or whatnot. But at any rate, all you really need to do to make beer is determine how much you want to make. Get some water boiling. You throw your grains in there. I like to use whole grains. I don't like to use the extracts because I think it tastes better that way.
Mhm.
But you do need a little more sophisticated system to do all grains. So we get the grains, get it in the pot. We usually have it like in a big cheesecloth, so it doesn't get
Gotcha.
everywhere and make a big mess. Like almost like you're steeping like a tea.
Yeah.
That goes into your boil. You boil it up. Or wait, Am I backwards? I am backwards. Never mind. That's a different process. The new process.
Rewind.
is
Rewind.
We get the water boiling and we get the grains. You know, like if you look on the side of a football field, like a Gatorade cooler,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
tube.
Oh, I know.
That'll be where we use our mash tun. So we'll open that up. At the bottom is called a false bottom. All that is basically a screen. Underneath that screen is a tube that goes to a spout. So you get your water up to temp, which is usually about 160 degrees, is the optimal temperature for extracting all the goodies from your grains. Get that water in there, put the grain in there, close that son of a bitch up, and since it's insulated, it will maintain that temp pretty well. You want to leave it steeping for about an hour.
Oh, it's not too long.
Once
Only
you're
an
done-
hour?
About an hour. That's all you need because there's a point of diminishing
Crazy.
returns. You can't really get so much out of your grains
Yeah.
once you're at 160 degrees. You only garner
that's-
so much.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
once you hit an hour, you open up your spout. That false bottom keeps all the grains up, so all the golden water comes out the bottom. And then you go back into your boil kettle and you add things like hops or maybe other ingredients you're looking for,
Secret ingredients.
depending on what you're making, proprietary ingredients, if you will. Bring that up to a boil again. That's usually another hour or so.
That's so cool.
The process is like surprisingly simple. I was kind of blown away how easy it was. I mean, you got like invest 2, maybe 3 hours of time, and you could have some beer going. And
That
it's
is so cool.
substantially cheaper than buying your own beer at the store too.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, it's
I guess that makes sense.
we did the math, and it was
Yeah.
like it was pretty great, but I don't remember exactly what the figures were. At any rate,
Well, beer has gotten crazy expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Six pack
It is,
of like
yeah.
an IPA is
$10
like 12 bucks.
Well,
10
You're paying
bucks.
Brutal.
$10
For
at least.
these, for like shipping 12, it cost me $50
Wow.
for like
Really?
like 12. Yeah.
jeez.
But I
Thank you
wanted
Canadian
for
or
doing
American?
that, but holy
it's
cow.
Canadian, but still it's more money.
I don't know what the
Anyway. But still, like beer is like even just for freaking your Coors,
Mhm.
it's gone up so much, and it's. I mean, it's good with clam, but
Clam.
it's just basic. But it's gone up so much. So
The
that's
only
really
one.
interesting.
And we got kind of a nice system. Once that leaves the final boil, we put it just right into a fermenting bucket, get it down to a temperature, usually 60, 70 degrees, somewhere in there. That's the optimal temperature to pitch your yeast.
Mm.
So yeast comes in these like little packets. There's the actual yeast inside, and there's a nutrient inside. Remember those little fart stink bomb pouches? You used to
Yeah,
buy?
totally.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
You slap that bastard, and then
Yeah.
the nutrients release. The yeast starts consuming it, and you're activating it. You dump that son of a bitch into your
Son of a bitch. So
into
cute.
your beer there, and that's when the process of making beer happens. So all those sugars within your beer, the yeast is consuming. The byproduct is alcohol, CO2. Put that in a well-regulated corner. Let it sit for maybe a week or so. There's a little device called an airlock that goes on the top of the bucket. And all that is just a way for pressure to escape as that yeast is consuming the sugars. But it also is there's like a water valve in there. So when it bubbles and percolates, nothing can get in to the beer. And that's when people run into a lot of issues. Because once your beer gets contaminated, that's when you ruin your beer and it's no good. And that's happened before. That's definitely a bummer.
I'll say contamination
Yeah.
is usually a bad thing.
Right.
I don't know of any scenarios where that's good.
So then from the fermenting bucket, we do a process called cold crashing, where once everything's done fermenting, it goes into a fridge. We actually got a fridge, just found it on Craigslist and converted it into a kegerator. Like,
Oh, nice.
Gutted out the racks in there, and it's got 3 tap handles that come out the door, and then the hoses and the CO2 tank is all set up in
That's
there.
so cool.
We could hold 5 pony kegs in there. That's 15 gallons of beer. So we get good to go if we're making a lot. I mean, if we get them all brewed up. But where was I? Okay, cold crash. And what that basically does is all the sediment and debris in the beer kind of settles down to the bottom and forms like a cake. And you take that bucket out and you just siphon out the good parts, leave if you have hop leaf or whatever still on the top for flavor, and leave that cake on the bottom. Put that fluid right into a pony keg, seal it up, slap the CO2, let it charge overnight, maybe 2 days, depending on how hard you crank it, and then you got beer. It's surprisingly
That is
simple.
so. You make me want to make beer.
It's easy. It's
Seriously,
really
that's
easy.
so
I'll show
cool.
you. It's fun.
That's really fun. That's so cool.
Ricky, I feel like we need to commission some pony kegs and bring back Vegapalooza this summer.
Oh,
Definitely.
shit.
Now-
You're gonna have to make something for whenever we Because we're not sure how we're gonna-
So you do reception.
knot?
We're probably
here,
gonna
at
get
the
married
very
here.
least.
We were talking about Vegas, but I just think we've been talking
My
about.
idea- well,
Go ahead, baby.
I would think because you know how we always used to go to Ocean Shores for getaways.
Sure.
Or like, I would one of you guys be ordained. I don't know.
Anyone can do it. Yeah.
Kyle
Yeah.
Hooker's already ordained.
Exactly. Like I was talking to Brett, and I was like, Brett, you ready to get that white suit out of it?
Well, go wait. Wait. 1 sec though.